This is Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com in the Iron Asylum with Cody Lewis. We are here 6 weeks out from the 2011 NPC Contra Costa. We're going to be doing a little Delt training here at Metro Fitness in Columbus, Ohio. Welcome back, Cody.
What's up, Dave? How are you?
Last time we talked to you, you had just won the North American Teen Championships last year. You're no longer a teen. You're 20 years old now, and you're entering the Men's Open, the big time, so to speak, in the NPC. How's things been going for you this past year?
Things have been going great. I had probably 6-7 months of off-season, really focused on bringing up my upper body, my arms, trying to match my legs, and it's tremendous. I've really brought up my upper body a lot, so it's going to help a lot in this next show.
Well, talk to me a little bit. Let's talk numbers for a minute. What was the weight that you competed at last year at Teen Nationals and the North Americans?
On stage, I was 218.
Okay.
When I weighed in, I was 218.
And what was the heaviest you got in the off season last year?
After the show, I got up to 265.
Okay.
I didn't want to get as heavy as I was like before 285, 290, a little too overboard. So I knew I was going to be doing a show not too far out, so I didn't want to get too overweight.
Gotcha. So you, I would assume at 265 this time around, you were a lot leaner than at 265 the previous year.
That's way leaner, way leaner. I couldn't believe it. I still had abs and everything. I was like, wow. My body really stayed a lot leaner this time. So, yeah, 265, I still looked pretty good. Had veins in my arms and everything still. So.
Now, what did you do to focus your training on your upper body? How did you prioritize that to make sure that upper body would come up to match those incredible legs you got?
Well, I started training like my chest twice a week before. I was only training it once a week with everything else. I started training my chest twice a week, and mostly I've been training like my arms and my back with my trainer. I used to train kind of everything with him, but we've been just focusing together on the chest and on the back and arms, and him basically just watching my back, make sure it stays contracted while I'm doing the sets and reps. It's really helped to make have someone push farther than you can really push yourself. Sure,
no, I always say it's good to have a second eye there watching you and making sure that you do things the right way. We're doing a little Delt training here today. It's probably one of your better body parts. Has this been something that's just been naturally easy to grow for you, or is this been a body part that you've put a lot of work into as well?
I put a ton of work into my delts. I'd say I train my delts almost like I train my legs. The thing with my upper body, my arms, back, and chest, they only allow me to kind of push so far before they go numb and they start to lose their pump. So I can only work them so much at one time. So I kind of have to train them more often.
Gotcha.
But with my legs and my shoulders, I've always been able to just keep pushing them farther and farther, and they just keep getting more pumped. So I train them very hard, like I train my legs, but I think that's why they grow. It's because I can just keep going, on my workout, and I don't have to stop at a certain point.
Right. Now, a lot of guys, after they win Teen Nationals, or even do Teen Nationals for that matter, they take a year off because they figure that, they want to put on some more size to be able to compete with the Men's Open. How come you decided not to take a year off and to go right into men's competition?
Well, basically, I know that I'm working, obviously, as you know, I'm working to get my pro card as soon as possible. I know it takes a long time. You have to first qualify to even start competing for a pro card. And so what I'm trying to do is basically qualify as soon as possible so I can start getting my name out into the national shows and really building a name for myself, because I know it's, you really got to have, you got to show them that you've been there. You can't win nationals first time, where you can, but it's not very likely. And you got to kind of prove to the judge that you keep coming back. So I know just being that, it's going to take a couple years on national stage to get that pro card. So that's why I'm trying to kind of get there as fast as possible, at least to start competing in national shows.
Gotcha. So let's say you did very well at the Contra Costa this year. Would you do like a junior national show the year after that, or
I think if I say I qualified at the Contra Costa, I would take 1 year off. I would do the next year. I would do a national level show, something big. So my thing is kind of go big or go home. Might as well not be scared and just step out there with the big boys.
That's a smart technique. And let's talk about delt training a little bit, because I'm sure there's a lot of guys watching this your age and would love to have shoulders like you do. What would you call the bread and butter of your shoulder workouts? What do you think is what really packs the mass on?
I think the most packing of the mass comes from the shoulder press with the dumbbells. I think that's always been my base movement for putting on mass, is shoulder press with dumbbells, because you're really hitting kind of all areas of the delt, because you're pushing a lot of weight. You have to balance that weight. It's not like with a bar. It's more with dumbbell, it can go anywhere. So you really having to bump that weight with the whole shoulder.
And what's the most you go up to at this point? How much weight are you dumbbell pressing nowadays?
I'd say normally around 110 if I have water. Off season, I can go up to as much as 130, 135.
It's pretty impressive. That's very impressive, actually. And
my shoulders are extremely strong.
Now I noticed you're doing a lot of dumbbell side laterals. You're doing like a superset here, and is this a way you typically train them, or is this something you just do on occasion?
No, I normally do lots of drop sets on those. I always love to do the side laterals with dumbbells and rear laterals with dumbbells. I like to do that a lot. Basically, drop sets. I always do drop sets. I normally may work up, do sets of 20 up to my heaviest weight, and then I'll do a set of drop set. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's where I get the most pump from.
Okay. Now, would you recommend that for beginners too, or is this something that you should only consider once you've already added a significant amount of size to your body?
I'd say it's okay for beginners as long as you don't get too heavy. You don't want to hurt yourself. So it's kind of hard to do drop sets when you can't go too heavy. But sets, I like high rep sets. That's why I do drop sets, so you can kind of hit the heavyweight and the lightweight, but you still get a lot of reps out of it. For more of around 20 rep sets with a good weight that you can do the right form, that's probably would be the best.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about diet. This off season, I know you're dieting now, but before we get to the actual diet that you're following, let's talk about off season. What were you eating this year to be able to pack on that mass that you've been working so hard on?
It was still very clean. My diet was still very, very clean this year. It was much more clean than it's ever been for the off season. Basically, I was eating around 5,500 calories off season, about two cheat meals a week, and lots of potatoes, all different kinds of potatoes: red potatoes, sweet potatoes, baked potatoes. Mostly chicken for protein, and maybe like a steak later at night. About 3 protein shakes a day, creatine, all that stuff, amino acids, things like that. But the potatoes I always like the most, I think, for bulking. Right. They're slow, they're a complex carbohydrate.
So you're kind of a creature of habit. You pretty much eat the same thing all day long.
Yeah, when I'm off season, my diet doesn't do much. When I'm dieting down, diet almost changes weekly. But when I'm off season, it's pretty regular. You get your carbs, you get your protein in, and that's what matters. You get your 2 cheat meals, that kind of changes it up. But I mean, it gets boring. I mean, it's okay to change it as long as you keep bringing in the carbs and the protein. Gotcha.
Now, what have you been eating? I guess now that you've been dieting, I mean, you're 6 weeks out from the Contra Costa. What kind of foods are you consuming on a daily basis?
I would say cod fish, turkey, white rice, and oatmeal is about it right now.
So you're sticking mostly with fish? You're sticking mostly with fish?
I'm sticking mostly with chicken. My body responds a lot better off the chicken.
Gotcha.
Even though the cod is very lean. I don't know what it is. My condition comes in much drier when I go with the chicken. So okay. I get a lot better results from chicken. So I only do about 2 a day of cod.
How many grams of carbs are you eating a day probably now?
Right now, around 225. Okay. 225 a day.
It's pretty low for you.
Still a ways out.
Yeah, that's pretty low for you though, right?
Yeah. I mean, because right now I'm carrying a full-time job. I'm working, I work 2 hours away from where I live. I would do construction work, and I'm doing cardio and posing and working out. So, I mean, that 225 carbs is burnt instantly. So it's more than my last time I was off work, last time for my show, but we'll be again this time in a week. So, but right now while I'm working, the carbs are still a little higher than normal.
Now, did you say you live 2 hours away from where you work?
Yeah, I commute every day, 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
Wow. You have to add 4 hours to your day just in driving?
Yeah, just in driving, it's exhausting.
Now, are you still doing welding?
Yeah.
Now, they don't have any welding near you where you live?
No. Where I live, it's here in Modesto. There's not really any work really for anything here. I commute to San Francisco, and that's where they're doing all the work. Building buildings, hospitals, everything like that. So there's always work over there. Wow,
maybe you should consider moving over there. That's a long commute.
Yeah, it's a very long commute. It's just I kind of built. I have a lot of connections here. I know, what I mean. It's like you get comfortable where you are. You like your gym you're training at it's my place of focus, so it's kind of hard to pack up and move everything. But then again, at 2 hours there and 2 hours back, it probably give me a lot of rest.
Talk about comfort zone. I think you'd be a lot more comfortable not traveling 2 hours back and forth every day.
That's very true. That's true. I'll be getting a lot more sleep. That's for sure. It'd be grow time.
Exactly. Exactly.
So.
Talk to me about the supplements you've been taking. I know a little bit about them, but fill in our listeners.
Yeah, I take Ice-Wise, like I said, about 3 a day. I stick to Ice-Wise. I'm still taking the Creolise, which is great. It actually works good with my diet. I'm not holding really any water from it, which is very surprising. Most creatines are you hold a lot of water and everything, but it's working great. It's helping me keep on a lot of muscle. I love the Creolise, I think that's what it's called. It's Afterlife.
Arthritis for the joints,
yeah, the joint pills. That stuff is great. My joints feel tremendous at all times. And normally when you're dieting down, your joints get dried out and start hurting. But I haven't had one problem at all from that.
Well, I think a lot of people need to realize, though, also, with regard to joint replacement type products like that, we don't get any glucosamine and chondroitin and any significant source of sulfur in our regular diet, since when we eat protein sources, we trim all the connective tissue off of the source. So you really need something, and even a lot of guys your age might neglect that because their joints feel so good because you guys are young. But you know what? You're preserving your joints for later in your career, and you're not going to have the joint issues that a lot of other guys like myself have.
Yeah, exactly. My joints feel great, and I push a lot of weight, and my joints used to hurt me a lot, and now that I'm taking these, I don't have no problems at all with my joints. It feels really good. I recommend it to a lot of people because I hear a lot of people tell me I got joint pains, and everything like that. My dad's always the same boat. It's like, you need to take some of this, and this, you'll feel like a new man, especially for a lot of older guys. They should like to train, but they can't because their joints, they just hurt.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking the Mineralize too, as far as vitamins go, or minerals go, You
got the vitamin D in there and all the chelated minerals, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very good for you. Very, very, very good for you. I'm taking fat burners. I'm taking, let's see which one.
How many lipolyze are you on now?
Right now, I'm taking 4.
Okay. You take the Somalize before bed?
Yeah, I take the Somalize for bed. I take 2 before bed, not very much, but I don't need very much. My body relies basically on a diet. That's what I get the best.
You're probably exhausted from the whole day of what you got going on there between work and training and all that other great driving.
Exactly. It doesn't, like I said, as far as fat burners go and everything like that, people think I take a lot of fat burners and supplements, but it's more of all the work I'm doing. I'm burning way more calories than I'm taking in.
Sure. Let's talk about trap training. You're using a machine that I like a lot. It's the Hammer Strength Shrug machine. Talk to me about this and talk to me about the different positions, because I know you can sit on this machine, you can face it, you can face away from it. How do you determine, how you're working with that particular machine?
Well, I noticed I tried that machine out in a lot of different ways, and I like sitting because it really isolates the muscle. But then when I stand up and I kind of face the machine, doing in there, I get a lot more results from it. It seems like it hits more of the back part of the traps,
right? Which
is where you're going to get your mass at. So I can go a lot heavier like that, and I can feel it a lot more in my back part of my traps. I've also learned from doing traps that they actually grow a lot more when you do them with back. I do them both with shoulders and back.
Okay.
But they get much more pumps when I do them with back, I think, because they are kind of a back muscle.
Yeah.
And a lot of people mistake them as a shoulder muscle, but the blood's there in the back, so when you go and pump them up with back, they get the pumps just crazy compared to if you do it with shoulders.
Yeah, I think it's I recommend that people switch around like that, because it is part of your back and it's kind of theoretically part of your shoulders because the trap muscle is such a long muscle. It starts at the middle of your back and it goes all the way up to the space of your skull, and so you really can't isolate it to one or
exactly. And when you're doing side laterals with your shoulders, just turning your pinky up when you bring those dumbbells up will hit your traps.
Sure. Now, I'm watching you do some, I guess these are called Arnold presses. I haven't seen anyone do these in a while. Arnold dumbbell presses. Now, do you always do dumbbells at the end of the workout, or is this just for this particular workout? Because most people I normally do the heavy
dumbbell presses in the start, more towards the start of the workout, and the Arnold press towards the end, because you can't really go too heavy with Arnold presses. It's more of like a finisher. Mm-hmm. If you go too heavy, you can really hurt yourself, So I know how strong my shoulders are. If I do them in the start, I'll be probably lifting too much weight. And when you turn that dumbbell like that in that position with a lot of weight, you're likely to tip something, So I like to do it towards the end.
And what do you like about that little twist at the bottom? What do you feel that it does for your development?
It really brings in the front part of your delts a lot. When I twist it and bring it forward like that, totally takes it from the side to the front. So you're almost hitting everything inside your rears, pretty much.
Gotcha. Now, do you recommend this for other people up and coming too?
Yeah, definitely. Just very light. Mm-hmm. Very light. You don't need a lot of weight with those to get a pump. The pump will come just, if you're a beginner, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, that'll get you crazy pump right there.
Right.
You don't have to go heavy with that movement. It just, the blood will come.
So would you say like 50% of what you normally do weight-wise? Would that be a good guesstimate?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 50% is about right, because I'm already beat. I'm already tired at the end of the workout.
Yeah.
So, when you're already tired, anything feels heavy after a whole workout. So I like to do that towards the end, like I said, so I don't hurt myself.
Right. Now I noticed you're doing more side laterals. What's this all about at the end?
It's just to bring more of a pump into it. You know what I mean? I love hitting sides and I love hitting rears the most. But your fronts, they come more naturally. You're always hitting your fronts when you're doing biceps. You're hitting chest. You're hitting anything. You're going to hit your fronts because it's natural. I mean, they come into play when your when your chest gets tired or your biceps get tired. And they come into play. So I like to hit my sides and my rears a lot more than my front. Mm-hmm. Because, the fronts will they just come naturally.
Right.
It's almost like decline. It's almost like your lower chest. It comes naturally. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. And some people do need to concentrate a little bit more on their front delts, but, you get some front delt stimulation when you're doing chest, and I think that's the reason. Now, I noticed you're sitting down and you're doing you're doing heavy shoulder presses now with like 80-pound dumbbells.
Really?
Yeah.
Towards the end?
Maybe it got displaced. Maybe the clip was a little displaced. It should have been.
Because normally I don't do that towards the end.
Okay, so the dumbbells go in the beginning. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the heavy dumbbell press always goes in the beginning because, like I said, at the end of the workout, lifting heavy, it almost kills your pump. If you try to lift heavy at the end of the workout, dumbbell presses, anything, it almost kills the pump. It's like you start heavy, and towards the end you get lighter and you get higher repetitions.
Sure.
How I always know to keep the pump going.
All right, well, Cody, you're going to be doing this NPC Contra Costa Championships. It'll be your first foray into the men's open division, and hopefully you're going to qualify. Now, what are you going to be, a super heavyweight or a heavyweight?
Yeah, heavy. I'm going to try to make heavies right now. I'm 238. I'm going to try to make heavyweights because I don't want to be at the bottom of the super heavyweights.
Gotcha.
So we're aiming for around 225. Which I shouldn't be able to make easily. I still got 6 weeks. So.
Well, good luck in the rest of your prep. We're going to be following your progress, obviously, here on RX Muscle. I know you post on the boards all the time. If people have questions, they can always submit them to you, and you answer anyone and all questions. You're very good like that. For now, though, we are out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Cody Lewis in the Iron Asylum.